Annie's got her head poking out the window.
Hey.
Here, let me take a picture, and then you can drop that into the video. Oh, Annie's watching us. Will you say when?
You're the one that says action.
Like, are you prepared and ready? Okay. Action. Did you like that stare off? Was that a good stare off?
Yeah, but then you just turn real fast to the camera and fix it.
You go slow?
Why am I the one always to fix this stuff? I'm going to start making you edit these videos.
Okay, you ready? Slower?
It's too late now.
Action. Is that slower motion?
Yeah, slower motion.
Good Monday afternoon from
Hudson, Massachusetts.
We actually like coming here when we do come here. We don't want to give our secret as to where we are, because then there'd be everybody.
Right? Come on, there's all kind of trucks in here. No, it's our little space.
At any rate,
you know, if you want to find out where this space is, come on over to Highfield Trucking. Hashtag Highfield Family. I'm having a hard time talking. And we will tell you where this space is.
Secret location.
Secret location that we're at. I'm sure we'll give away hints.
It's got a phenomenal grocery store that I love.
It really does.
It really caters to cultures here in their area, and some of their produce and their meats. I don't know, just cheeses, everything that we picked up some smoked herring.
Smoked herring.
Do you know what to do with smoked herring? Because we try to eat it like on some crackers, and it is
powerful.
So salty.
Powerful.
Salty.
Smoky.
Yeah, I thought the salt was more than the
the name
smoke.
Smoked herring.
Yeah, but it's like a whole box of
smoke.
Salt.
Smoke.
Anyway, we do love it here at this location. It's really nice, and it was a lot quieter the last time we were here. It became right.
Well, it was right kind of in the beginning of the reopening after COVID.
Phase 1.
Yeah, phase 1. So there are fewer people out, fewer stores open.
Yeah, but now there's more cars. So anyway, do you want to talk about what today's video is? You want to?
No, I don't.
No?
I just want to talk about the video.
You do? Well, if you follow Frank and Stephanie on The Trucking Couple on YouTube, he recently did vocabulary words for trucking. He specifically did FedEx Custom Critical. He did general trucking, and he touched a little bit on Panther. And he kind of called us out and asked us if we could follow up and try to do some Panther and other words that are important. So I guess that's kind of the basis of our video, since we had another video that had another 20-minute issue. We won't really talk about that. That we did when we were in Florida.
Or friggin' audio problem. So we did the last video that you folks saw. We mentioned that we had audio issues prior. We did that video as a replacement for the previous one. And then we went right into another video to put out the following week.
Which would have been last week.
I went to edit that one, and no audio. So I'm not sure what's going on. Unfortunately, the way our camera set up is, take a picture of that so you can see how the camera is set up.
All right, I can do
We're just
that.
using the iPhone. Well, I've got the bigger tripod out today with our microphone attached to it. So I have to watch from the other side, make sure we have audio, we do a sound check, blah, 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 blah. It's a good one for later on.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then we start shooting the video. So you know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to walk around there and just make sure we're still getting audio.
Okay.
Because I'm just that nervous about it.
Okay.
I really am.
So you're going to stop in here?
Nope, I'm just going to walk around just like this.
Okay.
And look from here. And it says we got audio.
We've got audio.
We got levels. We got good levels.
Well, let's hope we don't have a third 20-minute mistake. Let's just hope.
And the reason we do it this way is because a friend of ours said that the camera on the back of the iPhone is better than the FaceTime camera, and it is. So we get better quality videos and put out 1080p versus 720. So that's how we do it this way. We have levels. We should be good. So.
And I don't know what any of that means, because you're into that. No.
So back to what she was saying. Frank called us out and asked us to do a Panther-specific video. So we're going to do that. We're not going to cover the terms he covered on the FedEx side, because we just don't know the FedEx side. We'll cover some general trucking terms, and then we'll cover the Panther terms. And if we know there's a difference between FedEx and Panther, we'll mention that. But if you want to know the FedEx terminology vocabulary, you should take a look at Frank's video, and I'll try and insert a link here to that video. Don't know if it'll work going to a different channel's video, but it should. So I'll insert a link up here to Frank's video on vocabulary.
Again, that's the trucking couple.
That's
He
right,
put
the
that
trucking
out
couple.
last Thursday
I don't know.
something.
Last week.
So, so let me just run down our list.
Okay.
We put this list together. So what is DEF, or DEF? D, Delta, Edward, Frank. I don't know my Alpha Romeos, I'm sorry.
When you like ask a question
Yeah.
and then you continue on it, I got my mouth wide open ready to answer. So I'm sitting here going,
Okay, DEF. What is DEF?
DEF stands for diesel exhaust fluid. Some folks will refer to it as diesel emissions fluid. It is a separate fluid that you fill in a separate tank when you fill your diesel tanks. Generally, you don't have to add DEF every time you fill. We add DEF every third fill up, roughly. We don't like to get below half a tank on DEF, because if you do, we can cause some serious damage to your engine. What DEF does is helps eliminate some of the nasty stuff that comes out of the emissions or the exhaust of diesel engines.
I put my glasses on. That sun's
That's
peeking
so
out.
bright.
Well, it's peeking out. DH, or deadhead.
Deadhead is a general trucking term that applies to running empty. Whether you're running empty to pick up a load or empty from a delivery to a truck stop, if you are empty, you are deadheading somewhere. I'll leave it at that for now.
Do you find that I'm going to ask, do you find that Expediters maybe deadhead a little more than general freight? Am I using my terminology correctly? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know that the Crafties have mentioned that.
In our experience, I think we do deadhead more than general freight.
Your tractor trailers.
FAK, there's another term. We don't have that on the list.
No.
FAK, freight all kinds. I think that as Expediters we do deadhead more because there are fewer of us, and sometimes the freight that needs to be picked up might be far away, a couple hundred miles away from the closest expediting truck that can get it there faster than a FAK or general freight truck.
Hose. Just kidding.
Hose.
Hose. HOS.
Hours of service.
Yes.
In the trucking industry, there is a rule called hours of service, which regulates how many hours we can drive in the course of a day, how many hours we can drive in the course of 8 days. So a general overview is that we get 14 hours of on-duty time every day from the time we start our clock for our pre-trip. Within that 14 hours, we can drive up to 11 hours. So we get 3 hours of other on-duty activity if we need them. On-duty activity includes fueling, your pre-trip, loading and unloading the truck. That's all stuff that we do on duty. So if we take 2 hours to load the truck and 15 minutes to pre-trip the truck, then we have an additional 11 hours and 45 minutes that we have available for our on-duty time. So we can still run that 11 hours. Most of us don't run 11 hours. We try and run between 9 and 10 hours on our shifts. Gives us time for restroom breaks. You have to have your half-hour break in there too, which goes against your on-duty time as well. So we run about 9 to 10 hours on our shifts, depending on how we're feeling, where we're going, what time we pick up, what time we deliver. Lots of variables there.
Personal conveyance. You didn't have that one on there.
I don't have that one on there.
No.
And that was a really
People always ask about it.
really rough overview, really basic overview of hours of service. There's videos out there that cover the complete and total hours of service. If you're curious about them, I would search out one of those videos, because that would be a video unto itself for us to try and do hours of service. Personal conveyance is time that you can use. It's allowed by the FMCSA, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, for the carriers to make the decision on whether they allow it for their drivers or not. It allows you to move the vehicle without starting your clock or using your on-duty or driving time. Panther does not allow for personal conveyance. Anytime we have to move the truck for grocery shopping or any other reason, we have to use our drive and on-duty time here at Panther. Other carriers have different rules that they apply to personal conveyance.
Fleet versus carrier.
So you'll hear us talk a lot about fleet or carrier, and we'll use different things interchangeably. The fleet that we drive for is high field trucking. The carrier that we drive for is Panther. You see it back there on the truck behind me. So the carrier is the entity that provides freight to us. The fleet that we drive for is the entity that provides the vehicle to take care of the job. If you're a company driver, let's say you work for XYZ Trucking, and you're paid as a company driver, and they provide you with your freight, they provide you with your truck, they are your carrier and your fleet in that case. However, here at Highfield Trucking, Highfield is our fleet owner, Panther is our carrier, FedEx Custom Critical will be the carrier for those Highfield family members that are driving for FedEx Custom Critical.
BOL? What is a BOL?
The BOL is a bill of lading. That is your paperwork that your shipper will provide to you, which is going to list a bunch of stuff: where it's being picked up at, where it's being delivered to, the description of your freight, how many pieces you're carrying, whether it's 10 skids or 100 pieces. That's what your BOL is going to tell you. Those are your legal shipping documents. The shipper will sign it, the driver will sign it, and then on the consignee side, the receiver will also sign that paperwork, so you have a record of the trip.
So, could you spell lading? Just because I want to make sure that people understand it's not landing or something else, because I've heard sometimes
Sure.
when we talk with some of our newer teams.
So lading is spelled L-A-D-I-N-G. Lading, not landing. L-A-D-I-N-G.
Okay. All right. That's all we have for
That's it? Was that
just
the video? All
no,
over?
just
Okay, hey,
Done!
thanks for watching and subscribing.
no. Now we have Panther terminology.
Okay. Panther
Okay.
terminology.
All right. Do you want me just to go down these in the order
Yeah,
that you've put
Just
them?
go ahead and start.
All right. Macros or a macro?
So let's start with QC or Qualcomm.
Okay.
So
Action. What do you say?
well, you take two. You said
Take
it the
two?
first time.
Take, repeat, start again. Continue.
So we were talking about the QC because
Or Qualcomm.
or Qualcomm or Omnitrax. QC is our onboard computer that we use for communications with Panther. I didn't look to make sure that was level, so I'm gonna go check that real quick.
Okay, that's fine.
And it says it's level.
Says it's level. It's
Yeah.
level enough.
Level enough.
All right. QC, onboard computer system that we.
We communicate with
with
Panther with, whether it's dispatches, load offers. We can use that for any communication we have to have with Panther.
That doesn't require a phone call.
That doesn't require a phone call, right? So we can accept the load on the QC. We send our arriving and departure calls via the QC. So when we arrive at the shipper, we send a message saying, hey, we're here. When we leave the shipper, we send a message saying, hey, we're leaving. Here's the pertinent information. When we arrive at the consignee, we say, hey, we're here. And when we leave the consignee, we send a message saying that we're leaving, again, with pertinent information on that message. And that information on the shipper side is how many pieces, how much it weighs. On the consignee side, the receiver side, it's who signed for it.
And if we're available,
And, yeah,
or if we're going out of service.
And
for
what our
some
status
reason.
is after that, available out of service.
Available means we're ready for a new load.
Right. So that's what we do with our Qualcomm. So our macros, that was the first thing, right?
It was
That's what
macros,
we
so
got
you
to
were
this.
talking about QC.
So
or
a
Omnitrax.
macro is a pre-filled message that we can use to send to Panther. So arrived at shipper is number 2 on the list of pre-filled messages, so it'd be macro 2. Macro 1 is just a free-form message. It's just a blank screen. We can fill in anything. So arrived at shipper, depart shipper, arrived at consignee, depart consignee. Those are all what we call macros. They have a number assigned to them, and we use those pre-filled messages to send that to Panther. There are other macros as well that we can use. We can change our status via a macro. We can check and see what other types of trucks, I'm sorry, not types, but how many other trucks are on neighboring boards to us. There's a few other macros that we use on the QC.
So it's not on here, but you just used the word board, reflecting maybe back if anybody's watched Frank's video. Sorry, there goes the UPS man.
We got a bump from him.
If You watch Frank's video. He talks about load boards and getting load board offers, or that you're able to look at a load board. So maybe you could reflect, since you just used the word board, neighboring board. Our boards are different from FedEx.
Yeah, so
to Panther.
Panther's boards are unique, I think, in the trucking industry. If you are an independent owner-operator or independent driver, you're looking at load boards to find freight. A load board is going to list XYZ company has freight coming from city number 1 to going to city number 2, and it's paying X amount. Panther, we don't have that type of load board where we can look and see what kind of freight or where we want to go. Panther's boards are, they also call them virtual terminals, is they separate the country into small regions. So right now we're sitting on the Boston, Massachusetts border, about 45 miles outside of Boston. And any trucks that are within a certain radius of Boston are on the Boston board. We again don't look at a list of loads that are available here. With Panther, they call you and offer you a load. They don't have a board to look at for free. The nice thing about that is when they call and offer you a load, or they send you a load offer over the QC, or you get a text message about a load offer, that load is yours until you either don't reply within a certain amount of time, or you say no, you don't want that load. You're not competing with another truck for that exact same load. It's your load until you turn it in.
Okay. All right. Arrivals and departures. Did you kind of touch on that already?
I touched on that on the QC on macros.
Okay. Okay. Fleet Web versus Panther app.
So Frank talked about the extranet they have at FedEx. Panther has a similar thing where it's called Fleet Web, where you can go in and see different details about your truck. You can see your acceptance rate, your availability rate. Acceptance rate is the rate of the percentage of loads you accept versus the ones that you refuse. You can see your availability, which means that you are either available for freight or out of service for some reason, whether it's truck repair or vacation. Fleet Web, you can see your load history. You can see your Panther Rewards information. You can see your board position and the number of trucks that are on the same board as you. What else does Fleet Web show us?
I don't know. I honestly, I don't use it that often.
The Panther app, Panther has a dedicated application that you can download to your phone. It's going to show you similar things. I'm trying to think of the differences between the Panther app and Fleet Web right now.
I think Fleet Web shows the acceptance rate and
That's true. Acceptance
how much
rate,
time your
availability.
truck's been in service ready.
That's true.
I think those are the two major things that
and you
it
don't
shows.
see those things on the Panther app.
No.
On the Panther app, you can see your pending paperwork. You can use the Panther app to upload documents, your proof of delivery, as well as your VOLs, and any other thing that needs to be sent to Panther. If you get a new medical form, you can use that to send, the Panther app to send that to Panther. So,
And you can also change your availability, so
Change your
to
availability
go
from
out
the
of
Panther
service
app
for the
also.
truck or out of truck.
So you can change your availability with the QC using a macro, or you can change it with the Panther app. Two different ways to change it.
Yes. All right. DDP, Delta Popcorn.
So DDP is a Panther security protocol. It's dual driver protection. On certain loads that are high value or high security, it requires certain criteria to be met by the drivers. And we'll leave that there.
Okay. Load offer.
Load offer. We talked about that briefly. A load offer is when Panther has freight they want you to pick up. They will send you a load offer. We get that offer in 3 different ways. We can get it via the app, which tells us, hey, you got a load offer, but doesn't tell us anything else. The primary driver will get a text message if you have it set up. If you don't have it set up, get it set up. And that text message from Panther will have our pickup time and date, the location of our pickup, our delivery time and date, and the location of our delivery. It'll also show how many miles we have loaded on that load. Well, the third way we get it is actually over the QC. That message will have all the details of the load. It'll have the pickup address. The text message only has the city and state. So the QC message will have the pickup address, the shipper name, their address, the consignee name and their address. It will also show, again, time and date of pickup and delivery. It will show your loaded miles. It will show your deadhead miles. and then any other pertinent notes, whether it's a pickup number or there might be a time that's out in the future of 5 hours, but the load's ready now. It'll show the freight being ready now. It'll tell us if it is a DDP load, so you're prepared for that.
Hazmat.
It'll show hazmat. It'll show a lot more information on the message you get from the QC. The nice thing about the text message is that if you're inside this grocery store doing some grocery shopping and you get a load offer, you can actually start looking at what your deadhead looks like, where you're delivering to, is it a good board. You can look at those things without having to run back to the truck and get the QC fired up and see what that stuff looks like. So it's nice to have that heads up if you're not sitting in the truck, or if you are sitting in the truck and it's been off for 6 hours and the QC is turned off. You don't have to wait to turn the QC on before you can start evaluating a load for whether it's a good load or a bad load.
So the QC actually shuts off after 6 hours?
After 6 hours of the ignition being turned off, at least on our Panther trucks, the QC will power itself down. Yes.
How long does it take to...
Hey, relax.
Hey. Good girl. How long does it take to fire it back up?
We could take a couple minutes to fire it back up.
Okay. All right. Hey. First out, mini or dry run?
So
Those are all three separate things.
A first out is, so let's go back a little bit. When you become available and you're on a Panther board, you are placed in order of when you made your delivery. So if you make your delivery first thing in the morning, you're going to be higher up on the list, and you make your delivery in the afternoon. A first out means that you are put to the top of the list. Now, if there are multiple first outs on a board, you're slotted in your first out position by when you made your delivery. So the first truck to come into a board with the first out is number 1. The second truck to come onto a board with the first out is number 2, and so on and so forth. If you were number 1 on the board, you don't have a first out, and a truck with first out comes in after you, they get moved to number 1, you get moved to number 2. You are awarded first outs for either taking a mini run, which is a little less than 200 miles or lower, which pays a flat rate, or you have a dry run. A dry run is if you get dispatched on a load, you start moving towards that load and the load cancels, or you might arrive at the shipper and find out that they're not shipping that freight for some reason. So the bottom line in a dry run means that you're not taking that freight from point A to point B for some reason. At Panther, they pay a flat rate for a dry run. Whether you started towards the freight or whether you got to the pickup, you get paid that flat rate for a dry run.
Layover versus detention.
Layover is pay that we receive when our truck has to sit either loaded or waiting to get loaded for a day. So let's say we get a load offer right now and it picks up tomorrow. Well, I can't use the truck for anything until tomorrow, so I'm going to ask for a day of layover pay. And that's, again, a flat rate here at Panther. Layover also can apply. When we really see layover a lot of times is if we get a load that's got 3 days to deliver, but we can deliver it in 1 day. Usually it's a pickup Friday, deliver Monday. But the miles are short enough that we could actually deliver it on Saturday if they were open. So we're going to ask for layover for the number of nights that we have to sit and wait. So if it picked up Friday, delivers Monday, but we could actually get it there on Saturday, we're going to ask for 2 days of layover. Layover is one of those things that you have to ask for. They don't necessarily give it to you automatically. You might have a dispatcher that recognizes that it's a short load and it needs you paid and offer it to you, but you have to ask for layover when you need it. So you have to be able to calculate, when will this load deliver? I'm going to pick this load up on Thursday, it's 1,000 miles. I can deliver 1,000 miles on Friday, but they had me laying over until Monday. I'm going to ask for 3 days of layover because I know I can get it there on Thursday or Friday morning. I may not get the full 3 days, but I'm going to ask for it. I'm going to really push for it. Detention is when you arrive at a shipper or consignee and you have to sit for too long. With Panther, once we've been sitting for more than an hour beyond our original scheduled pickup time or delivery time, we make a phone call to dispatch and we start the clock for our detention. Again, it's a flat rate per hour up to a certain number of hours, but that's where detention comes in. So if you are scheduled to deliver at 10 a.m. and you arrive at 8 a.m., you don't make that phone call until 11 a.m. saying, hey, we've been sitting here because you got there early and that's on you. They might unload you early, but if they don't, your detention doesn't start until 11 a.m. So you have to make sure you don't call before that, because they're going to tell you, well, wait till your appointment time or your scheduled delivery time. So that's the attention versus layover.
Stop off?
Stop off is when you have multiple stops on a trip. It could be that you pick up from multiple places and deliver to one place, or you pick up from one place and deliver to multiple places. The last stop off we had, we picked up at one location. The items were labeled as to where they were going. One was going to Alabama, Mississippi, doesn't matter. One was going to Mississippi, one was going to Florida. The packages were labeled appropriately. So we had one pickup, and then we had a stop off at the first delivery.
Oh, we got a hand wave. That was nice.
All right. So we had a pickup at one place. The stop off was our first delivery, and then our second stop was our consignee. So that was our second delivery. So at Panther, again, you do get paid extra for stop offs, whether it's multiple pickups or multiple deliveries. You get paid additional for everything in between your shipper and your consignee. All the stops in between, you get paid extra for.
EM or empty move?
An empty move is when Panther pays you to move your truck to a better freight area. It doesn't pay you much. It pays a standard deadhead rate, and that rate fluctuates based on the price of fuel. So today, Panther's empty move rate is 24 cents a mile. It helps pay for fuel some, so you're not driving for free. It doesn't cover all the fuel necessarily. So you want to try and limit how many empty moves you have to take and how far you have to go. We got offered an empty move once from the Tampa, Florida board up to Atlanta, 600 something miles, and we didn't take it. We decided we were going to hang out in Tampa for a day and see if that didn't work to our advantage, and it actually did. We were the only truck in the area, and we got a load coming out, so we ended up getting paid full rate to get actually to California on that one, and didn't have to spend our time, 12 hours, driving at 24 cents a mile up to Atlanta.
Pro number, pro bill.
So pro number is something that you'll find at a lot of trucking companies. It's the number that identifies the load that you were on. That's the number that we use. We call dispatch. We say, hey, we're on pro XYZ, and they know. Usually they know anyway because they can track our phone number, but they are able to talk about the load that we're on by pulling it up with the pro number. Sometimes the shipper will ask for a pro number because they're using that for their BOL number, their bill of lading number. Most times it's just internal within Panther or your truck. A pro bill is what Panther uses to track our actual paper document that Panther uses for our proof of delivery. So it's a BOL is provided to us by the shipper. Our pro bill has similar information. It includes our names, our pro number, our BOL number if there is one, the number of pieces we're picking up, the description of that item, the weight, and then we use that pro bill to track our check-in time at our shipper, our check-out time at our shipper, and again, check-in and check-out at the consignee. And we also have the consignee sign that. That becomes our POD, or proof of delivery. And we also submit that to Panther along with the BOL for particular load. The pro bill to Panther is more important than the BOL, and it's more important to me because that's how we get paid based on that.
That's all we had written down.
That's all we had written down?
That was it. Anything else you could think
I
of?
think so. I think we covered quite a bit.
Yeah. Truck number? Is that important?
Yeah, all trucks have numbers.
All right.
Yeah. Road dogs?
Road dogs?
That's all we've got for you for now. So if this lifestyle interests you, we're sitting here now in this undisclosed location. It's beautiful here. If you want to know where this is, Class B license, hazmat and tanker endorsement.
Yeah.
What else they need?
I don't know. I was thinking, wow. Sign up to be part of the Highfield family, and we would definitely share with you where this location is.
Highfield's interested in bringing on same household or teams that are already made. We don't play matchmaker and bring on teams.
Oh, come on.
No, not going to do it.
No, not going to do it?
No. Class B license, hazmat tanker endorsement. hit us up. Our contact information is below. We're happy to answer questions for you. If we forgot anything on this video, leave it down below in the messages, and we'll try and get to that and add it to our next video.
Like, subscribe, share. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook.
And don't leave money on the table.
All right, that being said, goodbye. Have a nice evening.